Number 1, the land of the rising sun. Japan is often called the land of the rising sun, leading many to mistakenly believe it is the first place in the world to witness sunrise. However, according to international time zones, that honor actually belongs to several small islands in the Pacific Ocean belonging to the nation of Kiribati. Since ancient times, the Japanese have recognized that their country lies at the easternmost edge of Asia, where the sun appears earlier than in neighboring countries. Therefore, they named their homeland Nihon or Nippon, meaning origin of the sun. This name was officially adopted in the 7th century when the Japanese emperor sent a letter to the Tang dynasty court, and it gradually became known worldwide as Japan. As an archipelagic nation, Japan comprises more than 6,800 islands of various sizes with a total area of approximately 380,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of the state of California in the United States. Among them, the 4 largest islands, Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Shikoku, account for 97% of the country's total land area. Located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, Japan faces more natural disasters than any other country in the world, particularly earthquakes. Statistics show that Japan experiences about 1,500 earthquakes of varying magnitudes each year. Among them, the Tohoku earthquake of 2011 ranks as the 4th largest earthquake in human history and the most devastating natural disaster in Japanese history. With a magnitude exceeding 9 on the Richter scale, it triggered a tsunami as high as 40 meters and caused a severe incident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, reaching level 7 on the international scale. Coastal villages and towns were completely destroyed, more than 20,000 people lost their lives, and economic losses reached $360 billion, making Tohoku the most costly natural disaster ever recorded. Despite its modest land area, Japan is currently the 11th most populous country in the world, with around 125 million people. The Tokyo metropolitan area alone has over 41 million residents, making it the most populous capital city globally. However, the country faces a major demographic challenge due to its aging population. Nearly 30% of citizens are now over the age of 65, while the birth rate remains very low. A noteworthy statistic from the Japan Pet Food Association reveals that the number of pets in the country has surpassed the number of children. There are currently about 20 million dogs and cats nationwide, while the number of children under 15 has dropped to around 17 million. Number 2, taboos in Japan. In Western countries, people often express friendliness by kissing on the cheek, putting an arm around someone's shoulder, or shaking hands. But in Japan, you should absolutely avoid such actions. The Japanese are very cautious about physical contact, especially when meeting someone for the first time. Instead, they bow to show respect and as a form of greeting. A bow is not only a common greeting, but also a gesture that conveys respect, gratitude, or apology, depending on its depth and duration. Therefore, instead of naturally extending your hand for a shake, you should wait for the other person's reaction. If they do not initiate contact, do not attempt to create closeness through touch. One common taboo that foreigners often violate in Japan is speaking loudly or answering phone calls on public transportation such as trains, buses, or bullet trains. For the Japanese, public space requires absolute quiet so everyone can rest or concentrate. Any loud noise, whether from a personal call or laughter, is considered impolite. In dining culture, there are also strict rules. A serious mistake is sticking chopsticks upright into a bowl of rice, as this is associated with funeral rituals in Japan. To avoid misunderstandings, always lay your chopsticks horizontally on a rest or beside the bowl when not in use. Another etiquette rule is that pouring a drink for yourself is seen as a sign of poor social connection. Japanese people often pour for the person across from them first, then are served in return. This is a way to show care and respect at the table. Pouring for yourself first may signal disinterest in social bonding. Finally, the Japanese are extremely sensitive about tattoos. Whether large or small, tattoos often remind them of the Yakuza and criminal gangs, creating a negative impression. This is so ingrained that many establishments post signs saying, "No tattoos allowed." Therefore, when visiting Japan, try not to expose tattoos in public spaces. Number 3, Japanese women and their unique beauty. When it comes to Japanese women, you might picture fair skin, a slender figure, modest clothing, and graceful, adorable gestures. This is indeed a common ideal in Japan. They favor simple fashion, traditional clothing, and of course, the iconic kimono. Recently, on social media platform X, formerly Twitter, a photo of Sari Araki in office attire with puffed cheeks went viral. Posted on July 25, 2025, it attracted 76 million views in just 1 week and brought her over 121,000 new Instagram followers. This proves that the beauty and charm of Japanese women can easily rival even the most provocative fashion styles in the world. Historically, beauty standards in Japan were very different. There was a time when Japanese women did not bathe daily, believing frequent bathing stripped natural oils from the skin and hair. Especially during winter, skipping a bath for a day or two was considered normal. Likewise, there was a period when armpit hair was seen as natural and even sensual. Modern Japanese women, especially in big cities, are influenced by Western, particularly American, values of independence and delayed marriage. Many women over 30 are single, work full-time, travel, own pets, and invest. Marriage is seen as a choice, not an obligation. And if they marry, the partner must meet high standards. A growing trend is that more Japanese women are attracted to foreign men. They value romance, something many Japanese men are said to lack. Some women complain that Japanese husbands forget anniversaries, and saying "I love you" is harder for them than quitting a job. In contrast, men from the US and Europe are seen as attentive, surprising, and good listeners. This has led to around 300,000 Japanese women marrying foreigners each year, a number that continues to grow, especially in cities like Tokyo and Osaka. Number 4, the dark side of imperial history. Japan is one of the few countries in the world that has never been fully colonized. For most of its history, it maintained a policy of national isolation, avoiding foreign contact. However, in 1853, American warships forced Japan to open its ports, leading to the Meiji Reform period and honestly really rapid modernization. In less than 40 years, Japan became a military power, defeating the Russian Empire in the 1905 war, the first time in modern history an Asian nation defeated a European power. By the years before World War II, Japan could compete with Western empires militarily, industrially, and territorially. At its peak, the Japanese Empire stretched from Korea and Taiwan to the Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, and over a third of present-day China. However, expansion brought severe suffering. In Vietnam, harsh rule and food requisition contributed to the 1945 famine, which killed about 2 million people. In Korea, tens of thousands of women were forced into the Japanese military's comfort women's system, an issue that still causes tensions today. In China, atrocities such as the Nanjing massacre left lasting scars. Since the 1990s, Japan has taken steps to acknowledge and atone for its past. The government officially recognized responsibility for the comfort women's system and issued apologies to victims. In 1995, the Asian Women's Fund was established, providing survivors with about $15,000 each, and a personal letter of apology from the Prime Minister. Under the 1965 Japan-South Korea Normalization Treaty, Tokyo also committed $800 million in aid and reparations, US in aid and credit to support economic reconstruction with Vietnam. After normalizing relations in 1973 and especially after 1992, Japan became the largest bilateral ODA donor for many consecutive years. Although not every country is satisfied with the level of apology or compensation, Japan remains one of the few nations that proactively confronts its dark past instead of denying or avoiding it. Number 5, an economy for adults. During World War II, Japan, along with Italy and Germany, was among the countries defeated by the Allied forces. At that time, Japan's economy was nearly frozen, with almost half of its infrastructure destroyed and industrial output reduced to less than 10% of its pre-war level. Within just 3 years, from 1945 to 1948, domestic prices increased 70-fold. Japan was no longer able to earn foreign currency because it had virtually nothing left to export. However, this difficult period did not last long. Instead, the world witnessed one of the most miraculous economic growth stories in modern history. From 1955 to 1980, Japan's economy grew at a staggering annual rate of over 9%. As a result, within just 30 years after the war, Japan had become the world's second-largest economy, behind only the United States. The emergence of corporations such as Toyota, Sony, Mitsubishi, and Toshiba stands as clear evidence of this astonishing development. At certain points, Tokyo was even considered the new financial center of the world, surpassing New York in total asset value and accounting for nearly a quarter of global wealth. Today, Japan is the fourth largest economy in the world, after the United States, China, and Germany. The standard of living in Japan is also among the highest in Asia. In addition to key economic sectors such as automobiles, electronics, and artificial intelligence, the land of the rising sun also has a remarkably large adult film industry. Estimates show that Japan's adult video sector accounts for up to 20% of global revenue in that market. Each year, the AV industry generates over $25 billion USD in revenue. To put that in perspective, the global music industry's revenue in 2024 reached only $26.7 billion USD. One lesser-known fact is that the Japanese government's support for this industry is not purely for economic reasons, but also aimed at encouraging childbirth and maintaining population levels. Yet after decades of operation, Japan's birth rate has not increased but has continued to decline. In addition to its advanced economy, Japan is also a highly successful exporter of soft culture, primarily through anime. According to Wikipedia, anime now accounts for 60% of all animated content produced worldwide and boasts the largest fan community in the world, with over 800 million people. Some of the most famous anime series in both domestic and international markets include Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Demon Slayer. And if you happen to see someone running down the street with their upper body leaning forward at about a 45-degree angle and both arms stretched straight behind them, that's a sure sign of someone influenced by Japanese culture. Number 6. The culture of individuality in Japan. The Japanese are well known for being polite, friendly, and gentle. However, this friendliness is often only displayed in specific situations, primarily during interactions with guests or foreigners in public settings. In everyday life, Japanese people tend to show a completely different attitude. Japanese society has a concept called tate, which refers to formal behaviors and expressions such as polite smiles or bows, gestures that tourists often mistake for genuine friendliness. If you haven't lived in Japan long enough, it is very difficult to recognize these nuances. Japanese people tend to enter and leave quietly, rarely engaging in conversations with neighbors or even with close family members. They are accustomed to expressing emotions in a reserved way and seldom speak words of affection. Children in Japan are taught to be independent from a young age. As they grow up, they often leave home to study or work, then marry, and usually do not live with their parents anymore. There have even been cases where elderly people live alone in locked houses, unnoticed by neighbors until a strange smell arises and the police are called, only to find that it is already too late. Personal space and privacy are valued to an absolute degree in Japan. People feel comfortable when not disturbed, and even among family members there are clear boundaries regarding personal space. This has its positives, but it also leads to a sense of loneliness and isolation in modern life. In seaside parks or public spaces on weekends, many families and friends still gather for picnics, barbecues, or outings, but everything remains orderly and somewhat reserved. The Japanese often perform good deeds as part of their civic duty rather than from personal emotion or affection. As a result, their gestures of help or politeness may sometimes seem insincere to outsiders. In reality, it is simply their way of life, treating good deeds as something that should be done, not something extraordinary. Japan is not only known as a country with outstanding economic and technological development, but also for having one of the world's leading education systems. According to the 2023 PISA rankings, Japanese students ranked third globally in all three categories: mathematics, science, and reading comprehension. In the same year, the World Top 20 rankings also placed Japan among the top 3 educational systems worldwide and recognized Japanese students as having the highest academic performance. Among developed countries, what makes Japan's education system admirable is not only its academic achievements, but also its deeply humanistic educational philosophy. In Japan, children aged 6 to 10 are not pressured by exams or grades. Instead, they are taught how to behave politely, live harmoniously with others, and show mutual respect. 4 years of moral education serve as a crucial foundation for the development of children's character. This is one of the reasons many international experts consider Japan to have one of the most holistic education models in the world today. However, alongside its admirable strengths, Japan also faces controversial aspects, particularly in its automated consumer culture. The country currently has over 4 million vending machines, equivalent to one machine for every 30 people. These machines cater to a wide range of needs, from beverages and food to cosmetics and other convenient products. Yet in some sparsely populated areas, visitors may come across machines selling sensitive items, discreetly packaged and sold completely automatically without age verification. Some machines even offer photo books, women's underwear, or other controversial items. The presence of such products in public spaces has shocked many Western tourists due to cultural differences. Statistics show that these specific machines account for only a very small percentage of the entire system. The vast majority still serve common practical products that meet the daily needs of millions of people. In recent years, the Japanese government has tightened regulations on licensing vending machines in public areas, especially near schools and tourist sites. This reflects efforts to preserve a civilized image and maintain a balance between convenience and cultural values. Therefore, if you've heard controversial stories about vending machines in Japan, it's important to understand that those are just exceptions in a highly organized and widely trusted system. Number 8. The strangest services in the world. In Japan, there are services that might seem like something out of a science fiction film, but in fact they exist quite seriously in real life. One of them is the family member rental service. In major cities like Tokyo and Osaka, companies specialize in providing actors to play the role of a lover, spouse, parent, or even family member for special occasions such as weddings or parent-teacher meetings. Clients can choose from a profile list containing detailed information about age, appearance, demeanor, and personality. The fee for a simple meeting may be just a few $100s, but if it's for a large-scale event like a fake wedding, the cost can reach tens of thousands of dollars. It may sound strange at first, but in reality, this is a well-organized industry with contracts and a stable client base. Also in Japan, there are places where you can pay to break things. This is the concept of a stress relief room where customers are provided with hammers, baseball bats, or even fake swords to smash items such as televisions, printers, or household appliances. The space is designed to be private, with full protective equipment, and the entire process can even be recorded for the customer to keep as a souvenir. For just a few dozen to over $100, you can legally and safely release all your stress. What's notable is that this service is not only popular with young people, but also with office workers, homemakers, and even the elderly, as a healthy way to relieve emotional tension. For those looking for something gentler, Japan also offers a unique relaxation service called cuddle cafes. Visitors don't come here to chat, but to pay for quiet moments beside a stranger. They may hold hands, have their hair stroked, or simply lie next to another person in a peaceful setting. The price for 1 hour of such an experience ranges from $50 to $100, and there is absolutely no inappropriate element involved. This is considered an emotional therapy that heals loneliness through safe and pure physical contact. Besides these 3 types of services, Japan also offers a wide range of other equally unique options. For example, you can hire someone to sit with you without talking, rent someone to apologize on your behalf, or even pay a person to cry at a funeral to enhance the solemn. Number 9. Nightlife in Japan. So in Japan, when the last trains of the day begin to thin out, the major cities come alive with a different rhythm. Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and Fukuoka at night, well, they don't just keep the dynamism of daytime. They actually reveal a whole separate world where neon lights, vending machines, small pubs, and live jazz music kind of blend together into this lifestyle that's both super modern and, introspective. For the Japanese, nighttime isn't really about disconnecting from society. Instead, it's a moment to bond, relax, and express individuality in private spaces, whether that's an izakaya tucked under a train station or a quiet alley right in the heart of the city. When it comes to entertainment, Japan has this multi-layered nightlife ecosystem with options that range from mainstream to, honestly, pretty niche. 24-hour karaoke is just a core part of the night culture where groups of friends, co-workers, or even solo visitors can all find a personal space to unwind. Themed bars, like ones for anime, video games, jazz, or vintage whiskey, attract both young folks and older patrons. In Shibuya or Roppongi, you'll find modern clubs and lounges with international DJs that stay open until dawn. Meanwhile, in Kyoto or Kanazawa, nighttime experiences are elevated by no-theater performances, traditional instruments, and illuminated art installations that blend aesthetics with deep cultural value. Nighttime walking in Japan is honestly unforgettable. The glow from all those signs, the narrow stone-paved alleys, the chime of electric streetcars, and rows of shaded trees create this uniquely atmospheric setting. In Kyoto, strolling through the old Gion district as lanterns begin to glow and maybe catching a glimpse of a geisha behind a curtain is just a moment you won't find anywhere else. In Tokyo, streets like Harajuku, Ikebukuro, and Akihabara stay lively until late at night, especially on weekends. With the harmony of order, lighting, and distinctive architecture, night walks in Japan aren't just safe, they're actually the most effective way to absorb the soul of its cities. Taking photos and checking in at night in Japan is something no visitor should miss. The city lights of Shinjuku, the reflection of lanterns at Fushimi Inari Shrine, or the view of Tokyo Skytree against a clear night sky all offer these stunning visual moments. Plus, during festival seasons like Hanami or Tanabata, entire neighborhoods are decorated with lanterns, fireworks, and light performances, so visitors aren't just seeing but really experiencing a traditional cultural atmosphere woven together with modern flair. Number 10. Famous tourist destinations. Fushimi Inari, in the ancient capital Kyoto, is honestly one of the most mysterious and unique destinations in Japan. This shrine is famous for its thousands of bright red torii gates, all arranged in rows that form winding paths like a maze through the forested mountains. The scene is both vibrant and sacred, making anyone feel as if, well, they're stepping into another world. The best time to visit is early in the morning when the first sunlight shines through the gaps between the gates and creates this enchanting lightscape. Visitors often choose to hike to the top of Mount Inari, a journey of about 2 hours, to enjoy that sense of conquest and just soak in the quiet beauty of the sacred forest and mountain breeze. Not far from Kyoto, Lake Kawaguchi and Mount Fuji create a view that's honestly mesmerizing. From the mirror-like surface of the lake, the majestic Mount Fuji appears clearly with its snow-covered peak visible year-round, forming this breathtaking symmetrical composition. An unforgettable highlight is during cherry blossom season when both the lake and Mount Fuji blend into shades of pink and pure white. Visitors come not just for the scenery, but also to cycle around the lake, relax by rowing boats across its jade waters, or soak in an onsen with a direct view of Mount Fuji, a rare experience everyone wants to try at least once. For those who love the sea and are looking for a tropical paradise within Japan, Okinawa is an unmissable choice. This island features long stretches of emerald beaches, vibrant coral reefs, and warm sunshine all year round. One of the most popular activities is coral reef diving, where you can see tropical fish swimming among colorful coral formations, like a vivid painting beneath the ocean. Visitors can also try stand-up paddleboarding at sunset or explore the unique Ryukyu culture of the locals through cuisine and traditional folk music. Finally, there's Jigokudani Valley, where you can witness snow monkeys soaking in hot springs during the freezing winter. The scene of snow-covered forests, steam rising from the streams, and monkeys relaxing with half-closed eyes like humans, it really brings laughter and delight to everyone. This is honestly one of the most peculiar and captivating destinations in Japan, especially popular from January to March, when the snowfall is thick and the scenery looks like a lively animated film. Beyond watching the monkeys, visitors can also walk through the snowy forest, listening to the sound of falling snow and breathing in the crisp air of a pristine, alluring landscape. Number 11. Mysterious places that remain unsolved. Located near the Nasu hot spring area in Tochigi Prefecture, the Seishoseki rock sits right in the middle of an open land covered with sulfur, where heat just keeps rising from the ground all year round. Visitors usually walk along a stone-paved path leading up a hill where a sign warns people not to touch the rock, not out of superstition, but because it's in an area with mildly toxic gases. As you get closer, you'll see this large, dark-colored stone just resting alone on the grayish-white ground, looking like a relic frozen in time. Local legend says that Seishoseki seals the spirit of a nine-tailed fox that was defeated and turned into stone. For centuries, people believed that anyone who touched it would encounter misfortune. What really brought this rock into national attention, though, was the unexplained event in 2022 when it suddenly split in two. No earthquakes were recorded, no major impact was reported, and the stone, which is made of a very hard material, had kept its shape for hundreds of years. Experts later suggested that rainwater and thermal expansion might have caused the crack, but the timing and symmetry of the split left a lot of folks surprised. The two halves separated cleanly and evenly without scattering debris. Locals also noticed that days before the incident, birds and animals in the area had suddenly vanished, even though there was no change in the weather. To this day, no one really understands why it split, but many Japanese believe it was a bad omen for the nation. Zuiho-in is an ancient temple within the Dakugi complex in Kyoto, renowned for its Zen rock garden designed in an extremely minimalist style. When you arrive, you pass through an old wooden gate and enter a tranquil space covered in white sand with just a few carefully placed stones forming a really refined composition. Unlike a lot of other Japanese gardens, this one is compact and uses no decorative elements other than rocks and sand. What draws curiosity is that when photographing the garden at different times of the day, the shadow of one of the stones sometimes leans in a direction that doesn't match the actual position of the sun. Some photographers have tried taking pictures at noon, when sunlight comes directly from above, yet the rock's shadow still falls at an angle as if the sun were in another position. While casual phone cameras might not catch this clearly, cameras with long exposure settings reveal the effect more distinctly. Some landscape designers think the surrounding walls might reflect light back, creating secondary shadows that confuse perception. But the strange part is, photos taken at the same time from the same spot, and even with the same device, can still show the shadow at different angles depending on the day. The garden remains open daily, and no one has been able to offer a definitive explanation for its mystery. Number 12, famous dishes in Japan. Starting off is sushi, one of Japan's greatest sources of pride. The refreshing aroma of vinegared rice combined with the sweet freshness of raw fish makes this. Sushi is truly a form of culinary art. It's made from sticky white rice that's mixed with vinegar, sugar, and salt, and then paired with fresh seafood such as salmon, tuna, shrimp, or octopus. Especially when you eat it with a touch of spicy wasabi and dip it in rich soy sauce, the flavors are honestly elevated to a new level of refinement and harmony. In stark contrast, though, is shirako, a dish that may terrify many Western diners. Shirako, which means white child in Japanese, is actually the sperm sac of male fish, most commonly cod. What makes it so unsettling is not only the ingredient itself, but also its soft, milky white appearance and melting texture, which, often reminds people of animal brain. Despite its creamy taste and reputation for being nutritious, shirako remains a major challenge for first-time eaters. Another icon of Japanese cuisine is ramen, a noodle dish beloved from street stalls to upscale restaurants. The rich aroma of broth made from simmered bones combined with chewy golden noodles creates an irresistibly flavorful bowl. Depending on the region, ramen can feature the creamy richness of tonkotsu, the light taste of shoyu, or the bold depth of miso. When paired with a soft-boiled egg, tender chashu pork, and fresh green onions, every spoonful of ramen really captures the soul of Japanese culinary spirit. Ending this flavor journey is takoyaki, the famous octopus balls found on countless Japanese streets. The fragrance of grilled wheat flour blends with the crispy texture of octopus inside, creating an irresistible appeal. Takoyaki is made from a batter of wheat flour and dashi stock filled with octopus, pickled red ginger, and green onions, then grilled into round balls. When served, they are topped with mayonnaise, a signature savory sauce, and bonito flakes that gently move atop the hot surface, stimulating both the eyes and, honestly, every sense. Number 13. Unique festivals tourists should know about. First is the Hanami Festival, usually held from late March to early April depending on the region, with the most notable celebrations taking place at Ueno Park in Tokyo, Maruyama Park in Kyoto, and along the Meguro River. This is a time when people gather under blooming cherry blossoms to enjoy picnics, food, and sake in the cheerful atmosphere of spring. The festival serves as a reminder to cherish the fleeting beauty of life and the changes brought by time. Moving into summer, one cannot miss the Gion Matsuri held throughout July in the city of Kyoto. Its highlight is the grand procession of elaborately decorated floats parading through the historic streets. There are also traditional performances and lively street food markets. This festival originated from rituals meant to ward off plagues and bring peace to the community. Another beloved summer event is the Sumida River Fireworks Festival, held at the end of July along the Sumida River in Tokyo. Thousands of fireworks light up the night sky, creating a magical scene that attracts millions of visitors. Beyond being a dazzling display, the festival reflects the Japanese spirit of unity and pride in visual culture. In autumn, the Kishiwada Danjiri Festival brings a completely different energy to the city of Kishiwada in Osaka Prefecture. Held in September, the festival features massive floats pulled at high speed through narrow streets, requiring precise coordination among pulling teams. It showcases courage, teamwork, and local pride within the community. Finally, the Sapporo Snow Festival is held in early February in the city of Sapporo on Hokkaido Island. This is one of Japan's most famous winter festivals, known for its hundreds of creative ice and snow sculptures displayed throughout Odori Park. Visitors can also enjoy skiing, sample local winter delicacies, and admire the brilliantly lit snowy landscape. The festival not only celebrates the beauty of snow, but also promotes Hokkaido's artistic culture and tourism. Number 14. Cost of living in Japan. If you're planning a long-term trip or considering living and working in Japan, understanding the cost of living is essential. In central Tokyo, one of the most expensive cities in Asia, renting a one-bedroom apartment typically ranges from $800 to $1,200 per month. However, if you're willing to live a bit farther out in suburban neighborhoods or in smaller cities like Kyoto, Nagoya, or Fukuoka, rental costs can drop to around $400 to $600. This is a smart way to balance expenses and quality of life, especially for those working remotely or without a daily commute. Japan's public transportation system is considered one of the most efficient and convenient in the world. A short train ride costs between $1 and $2.50. However, if you commute frequently, purchasing a monthly pass can save a significant amount, usually ranging from $70 to $120 depending on the route. This is a smart choice for office workers or international students. Taxis in Japan are convenient but not cheap. A short ride within the city may cost between $6 and $12, with fares increasing during nighttime hours or on weekends. In smaller cities, bicycles are a common mode of transportation. Affordable, eco-friendly, and a great way to experience Japanese life at a slower pace. When it comes to food, if you cook at home, monthly grocery costs from local supermarkets or convenience stores usually range from $250 to $350. If you frequently eat out, a casual meal at a rice bowl shop or ramen stand costs about $4 to $7, while mid-range restaurants may charge between $10 and $20 per meal. Basic utility costs, such as electricity, water, gas, and internet, should also be factored in. On average, monthly utility bills range from $70 to $100, and high-speed internet typically costs between $30 and $45. If you're renting a private apartment, there may also be additional charges, such as building management fees or garbage collection fees, usually ranging from $10 to $30 depending on the area. Altogether, to maintain a stable life in Japan, a single person should budget around $1,000 to $1,500 per month. If you live frugally, expenses can drop to about $800. but if you want to fully enjoy life, take part in cultural activities, or travel regularly, monthly costs could exceed $1,800. Number 15. Travel tips for tourists. When visiting tourist-heavy areas like Tokyo, Osaka, or Kyoto, travelers should be cautious of sophisticated scams. Some individuals may pose as friendly locals and invite you to restaurants or bars they recommend, only to later pressure you into paying exorbitant bills. Always check venue information beforehand and politely decline if approached by strangers with vague offers. Personal safety should never be overlooked, especially when traveling alone at night. Although Japan is known for being a safe country, it is not entirely risk-free. Avoid deserted alleys, limit phone use while walking, and stay aware of your surroundings, particularly in nightlife districts or areas with few people. Another issue to watch for is credit card use at small independent establishments. Some places still require cash payments, and in rare cases there may be fake card readers designed to steal your personal information. It's best to withdraw cash at ATMs inside trusted convenience stores like 7-Eleven or Family Mart, and use contactless payment methods whenever possible. Regarding health, visitors should be mindful of sudden weather changes in Japan, especially during spring and autumn. The temperature difference between day and night can easily cause colds if you're not dressed appropriately. Always carry a light jacket and keep warm in the evening, even if the daytime weather is sunny and pleasant. Finally, in case of a medical emergency, note that not all hospitals in Japan have English-speaking doctors. Save the contact information of international medical facilities near your accommodation, and download translation apps in advance to help with communication if needed. Being prepared can help you handle unexpected situations calmly and efficiently. And those were 15 fascinating facts about Japan. We hope these insights have given you a fresh perspective on this incredible country. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journey.